I'll be happy to try and answer. Please try and sit still. I mean, wait. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, I wanted to ask you about the breath and the luxury of it sometimes, that I guess I'm still working that muscle. Could you talk about the quality of the breath and how it changes as we meditate?
I talk about this a lot, and it's really a good subject because, look, there are two tools, major tools that we use in this meditation. One is the mind, which is perhaps the strongest instrument a human being has, learning to discipline the mind and using it to open the core of our being. The second tool is breath. Breath is life. Every time you inhale, you take in life. Every time you exhale, you let go of a part of yourself. And it's the I am that. We inhale. So what we're doing in the exercise is we're using the breath, life, all of life, in its multidimensional manifestations on the earth. Everything breathes, to develop our inner selves, to develop our chakra system. Every breath we take is a prayer. The Hindus have a mantra, so hum, which is based on the inhalation and exhalation of the breath. So means I am, hum, that. I am one with everything. And the extraordinary thing about breathing is that it's like prayer. Everybody alive, every plant, every animal, every bug, it's breathing. And it's like that breath sustains the world. So breath is prayer. Because breath is the receiving life and letting go of life, which is what we all have to do. We're born, we receive life, and then at some point we have to let go of life. And the meaning is really very profound because it's I am that. And that is I am one with everything. So when you think that 24 hours a day, people are going around, whether they're conscious of it or not, whether they believe in God or they don't believe in God, sustaining the world because they breathe. And as you develop a chakra system and grow in the meditation practice, you begin to realize how essential that tool is to continue the growth and to develop yourself inside. Most people living here, when they breathe directly up into their heads. So what they do is it's like a match, igniting, thinking, and those thoughts create a lot of craziness. In this training, we're being taught to breathe into the heart and to breathe below the navel, to bring the breath down into the very core of our being, to bring life down into the very core of our being. And when you start doing that, you will never take your breath for granted. It will always be an instrument that nurtures one, it's the rhythm of life, breathing. Sustains all of life. Try not to breathe for a couple of minutes, see what happens. You don't have to eat for 100 days and you can still survive. Try not to breathe for 5 minutes. So I think these are important elements in the meditation we practice. And as you get conscious of these things, you know, our ability to refine the breath and to use it consciously just grows exponentially. I mean, there are times in the meditation where you can just slow your breathing down to virtually non-breathing. And, you know, and just that little breath you take in is enough to open the whole chakra system. So the tools we have are the mind and the breath. And then you have chakras, and you have very important elements is the need to do it. The need to have a spiritual life is, otherwise none of these tools are going to work. The need to grow, to change, to develop an inner life. And then the will to do it. The will to do it gives you the strength to overcome all of the obstacles that we create for ourselves. But the breath, probably the most taken for granted of anything, is the key to strengthening the chakra system. You know, bringing the mind down to the navel chakra will open it. Breathing into that chakra will strengthen it and develop a muscle system, a psychic muscle system inside one. Same thing in the heart. Feeling gratitude will open the heart, but breathing into the heart will strengthen the psychic muscles that make up the heart chakra. And truthfully, the more you work on yourself, the more conscious you become of the breath. You know, even in the Bible, you know, initially, I mean, I read this years ago, and then a friend of mine told me this, and it kind of blew me away. Initially, it was Abram, you know, who was the son of God, you know, the highest. And eventually, God changed his name to Abraham, and in Hebrew means breath. Not that I know a lot of Hebrew, but there are a few things that people told me that stayed with me. And that was one of them. Because I always wondered about that, how Abram became Abraham. And it had to do with the consciousness of breath, of life being drawn from what's infinite in the universe into his system, giving him the capacity to, you know, develop a connection with higher energy in the universe, God, Jehovah, whatever they want to call it, you know. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? I had a friend of mine who was, he was from Israel and a very close friend, still a very close friend. He's a really very wonderful artist, this man. And he's also a scholar, you know, he really knows, he's, you know, his Jewish religion stuff. And in the million conversations I've had with him, these things would come out that were really, that would just strike something in me. I would listen, you know. I mean, I had a really kind of magical, when I was younger, we had this magical connection. It was just staggering. The things that used to happen were beyond all human comprehension, you know. But he's the one who told me about Abram and Abraham. A very good friend of mine. He and his wife very close to me. Does anyone have a question? Anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome. So don't ever take your breath for granted, because breath is one of the keys to spiritual enlightenment. Breath will develop a chakra system and strengthen the chakra system. Does anyone else have a question?
I liked what you said about breathing into the heart. This is staying with me. I appreciate that.
Well, you know, gratitude opens the heart, but gratitude is not going to develop the heart chakra. It'll open the heart chakra. It opens the door. Breathing into the heart center, which is the first breath in the exercise. The air, the breath you take in, will build psychic muscles in the heart center, strengthen love, joy, gratitude, all of the elements that are so deeply embedded in the heart chakra. And that in order to get enlightenment, we have to get to. And we have to not only get to them, we have to live with them as day to day, parts of our life. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Yeah. I didn't think I was going to be able to talk tonight. I had a crown put in my head. My face was like this. But it went away, and thank you for the question. It really brought out some very good things. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, if there are no more questions, then there will be class on Wednesday. And I'm, looking forward to seeing everyone. And again, as I say over and over again, thank you and bless you all, because you're not the only ones here learning. I am learning also. And I recognize my own imperfections and my own need to grow every day. And these classes are making it possible to do that. So God bless you all for being here. And I hope to see everyone on Wednesday. Have a good evening. Bless you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you,
Good night, Stuart.
Good night.
Thanks, Stuart.
Thank you very much, Stuart.
Good night.
Thank you.